Welcome, everyone, to episode 89 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, Tom, is this the first time we played a game that has sequels in order?
Holy wow. You know, that's insane, Chris. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is exciting times for us. It only took us 89 episodes to get to this point, but we did it, folks. We did it. And we're going to be talking about SnowRunner, the sequel to our initially very well-loved game, MudRunner.
Yes, our second episode.
Our second episode. My, how times have changed. This game was developed, like the other one, by Saber Interactive. And it came out in April of 2020. I played this on the PC, and it was 31.5 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
They did something right, because living on the Xbox One, it was only 26 gigabytes.
Well done, Saber. You guys figured, hey, let's pull out all the stops for our sequel, including compression on the Xbox. Why not?
They used that Saber to cut some gigs.
Oh, they sure did. They sure did. Now, what kind of game is this, Tom?
Truck driving simulator?
Yeah. I put open world truck driving simulator. But I guess that's kind of limiting it, though, to be honest, because that is just one part of the game. I played the campaign.
Yes.
Did you play the campaign as well? Okay.
Ditto, yes.
Yeah. But there are other modes to this game, but that's what I stuck with, and what we both actually stuck with. So, yeah, there are other modes, but yeah, that from my experience, it was an open world truck driving simulator. And what about that game loop?
Yes, well, because we played the tutorial, I have or the campaign, which starts with a tutorial. Yep. I have learned to drive trucks and use this knowledge to complete objectives.
Yeah, I took out the first part of what you said and basically just said complete objectives by using the right truck.
Yes. You can use the wrong truck and still complete the objectives.
You could.
It's just way harder.
Yeah, you absolutely could. So this game, I mean, like I said in MudRunner, this is pretty much the Dark Souls of truck driving.
Yeah. It definitely is.
It's tough. But let's get into what we like, shall we?
Yes. Speaking of things that are real, right? I enjoyed the little real facts, the little tidbits that they had on the loading screens, talking to you about truck drivers and different aspects of the lifestyle and things like that. I was like, oh, this is good information. That was kind of
I didn't really have that many loading screens, so I didn't really notice that.
Well, there were loading screens on the Xbox One. Maybe that's where those 5 gigs went.
Yeah. But I agree with you, though, that this game overall really teaches you about truck driving. Like the first one, I think I remember saying, like, I give all the respect in the world for any kind of truck driver in this, because this is not an easy job to be able to wield these gigantic hunks of metal around in pretty precarious situations. So it was great to kind of get back into that mindset again.
Yeah. I want to say, I think we both put this in our thing, which is that this game really makes you think. There's a lot of like planning and executing a route. And sometimes you plan a route, and then when you get to where you thought you could go on the map, you're going to have to pivot and do something different. And I just enjoyed that. Like I enjoyed setting, my own waypoints on the route and saying, like, okay, I'm going to go here. And then when I get to this intersection, I'm going to make a left, and then I'm going to go here. And then it's like, the road over here is flooded. Going to have to do something different than what I was originally planning here.
Right. It was the fact that the map doesn't always show you what's going to happen or what's
Yeah.
like how the terrain is going to be is, it throws those curveballs at you all the time. I mean, I get when you get to the, I guess, with the watchtowers,
Yes.
which kind of reminded me of like Assassin's Creed, like
Yes.
getting to those eagle points and stuff like that, where it just reveals the world to you, or a piece of the world that
Yes.
you're in. So that was helpful. But then even with it being revealed, sometimes you're still getting like curveballs thrown at you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was one point where I was I like you, I mapped my area and then I saw that there was like a fallen tree or something like that in there. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that wasn't on the map," which I guess, do all maps have fallen trees on it? Maybe if they had ways or something on it, maybe, sure, but yeah. So that was 100%. I agree with you though. That this game is so much about not just driving, but thinking about your route, because you're thinking about resources, you're thinking about making sure your truck is not getting damaged, or the thing that you're lugging around is getting damaged. So there's a lot of thought, a lot of thought. And I also want to say, like, this game looked a lot better than the first game, and it might be because of the way that the game, like, initially, like, I mean, maybe they took a little bit more thought into how the initial startup was. Maybe they watched a review of MudRunner, and this is how they got to. But it was a very good presentation. It looked much better, and like the physics felt really good.
Yeah.
Like there's one point where, again, the winch is back, so
Thank
if you're
goodness.
stuck, yeah, if you're stuck, you throw that thing on a tree and drag yourself off. I winched myself to a small tree and watched that tree crumble because of the weight of my tree. So that was kind of cool. Like, it literally just fell over as I was trying to go
Oh,
over. So it was pretty cool.
wow.
It was pretty cool to see that. But yeah, like, and then like with the, because you start off in a pickup truck,
Yep.
just watching it like get through the terrain, you can see like all the little kind of parts and stuff like that. Just a sense of like, okay, I'm really going through some really tough terrain, which is very cool.
Uh,
Anything else?
piggybacking off
Yeah.
of that, I want to say the tutorial I thought was very well designed, very
Yeah.
good at like teaching you while you play. So,
Yep.
to your point, right? Your truck is in mud and it's like, okay, you probably want to go into a lower gear. You probably want to
Yeah.
turn on your all-wheel drive, and it like walks you through that in a scenario where it's very relevant. And
Right.
then, later when you approach that same kind of problem again later, you're like, ah, right. They taught me how to do this already.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we both mentioned this too, that about, and we talked about it at the top of the episode, but the multiple modes.
Yeah.
There's a campaign, there's a trial mode, co-op is there. 2 to 4
Yeah.
players that you can play online with. I didn't even realize that. I don't know how you do that, but hey, whatever. I guess everyone completes their own objectives in this campaign world. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like in the story, in the campaign mode, right? You pick up missions and then you
Yep.
get, resources for it. You get, notoriety, and you get money,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can use that to, advance your character and your story. So
Right.
extrapolating that out, I would assume that you could play a co-op version where, all the money goes into one place or something like that. It
Yeah.
seems like what it would be, where you're
I
all
hope so.
working towards
Maybe.
a shared objective.
Right.
Otherwise, it
I mean,
would
I
be a
hope it's not.
competitive mode, right?
Yeah, or like, I mean, I hope it's not like Power Wash Simulator,
Right.
where just the host gets everything, and then
Hmm.
everyone else joins in and just helps the host, and then goes about their merry way, getting nothing from it.
Yeah,
That would
that's
stink.
that would stink. But I do think
Uh,
I wrote a little note here on the multiple modes. Like, it
yeah,
seems to me like a pretty cool way to like get together, chill out, and chat
yeah,
while playing. This is a game that you can get real zen while you're playing, kind
yeah,
of like Power Wash.
yep.
But I think this would be a game where there might be more conversation going,
True,
because
true.
if, let's say one of us was looking for wood and the other one was looking for steel, and I find the steel before you do, I could be like, "Hey, Chris, top left of the map, I found the steel mill," or whatever.
I mean, we don't talk like truckers though. Breaker.
I guess. Yeah. Listen, you're right.
You could do that.
I'm sorry. That's my inexperience talking. See, clearly we need to do this, and then we'll get better. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, one of the modes that kind of shocked me, I will say, is there is a hard mode.
I don't know if you saw that. No, I didn't. You mean just playing the game?
No, there's even more difficult mode where you have to pay for fuel. You have to pay for all your repairs and stuff like that. I don't think like it was like when I was looking through it, it was insane. Like I was like, who would want to do this? Some sort of psychopath wants to do this, or someone who wants to be a trucker and it's like, you know what, this is probably how my life would really be like. Then maybe, sure. I guess. I mean,
bust out the steering wheel and right?
We'll talk about that in our other thoughts. But anything else you wanted to bring up here?
Since you mentioned that fueling, you have to pay for fuel. I want to shout out that in the campaign mode, just a regular standard campaign mode, you don't pay for fuel. Right. And in fact, you don't even need to stop to refuel. You can just roll right through the gas station and fuel up while still rolling. I wish that you could do that in real life.
Yeah, that would be amazing. You basically have to have like a pit crew everywhere you go.
It's like the wireless charging on the phones. You just kind of get it close enough.
It worked. It's fine. No big deal, right? But yeah, that's anything else you want to bring up here?
No, I think I hit all of mine. But I do have a few dislikes to talk about.
Oh,
okay. Unfortunately. And I see you agree with me on this one.
Okay.
There is a lot of optional DLC microtransactions here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that.
Me neither.
For shame. Shame on you.
Shame on you, Saber. I feel like, was there that much DLC in? No, it wasn't, right?
No. If there was DLC in MudRunner, it was not this egregious.
Right. Like, yeah, you were locked out of car or trucks. You were locked out of maps. So it was like, come on, not a good look. Unless this game was maybe $30 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then other stuff was like, sure, okay, I could see that.
I still don't like I still don't even like that business model.
Right. Yeah. It's not great. I thought that the tutorial was a little bit long.
Yeah.
It was a good tutorial, but I felt it was a little bit too long. And I think it took like maybe half or maybe a little bit more than half my time when my playthrough. And the other thing that was a little surprising to me, this game is called SnowRunner. The tutorial was not in snow at all.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you. I want to quickly say I agree with you 100%. This game starts incredibly slow. It's a slog at the beginning, both in a literal sense.
Yeah.
Because it's you're driving through mud, and your car is going like half a mile an hour. Like it's bad. It takes a long time to get anywhere up at the beginning. So.
Mm-hmm.
But did you know, Chris? I looked this up. This game was originally going to be called MudRunner 2. And they changed it to SnowRunner. So I think all this mud that we're running through in the early part of the game is a holdover from that.
I wonder why they did that.
I did not get an explanation for why that was, but I did see that it was originally planned to be called MudRunner 2, and then they pivoted to SnowRunner. Maybe they felt like if they called it MudRunner 2, then people would feel like they had to play the first MudRunner.
Maybe.
How am I going to jump into running the second amount of mud? I have to do run the first mud.
It's well, hey, we've played sequels, so it's okay. Sometimes they'll do recaps. I don't know what they'd
Yes.
recap of MudRunner 1 here, but it's fine. Maybe there is some sort of compelling story in MudRunner that they needed to share with us. The one thing, even though I did talk about that I liked the physics overall in this
Mm-hmm.
game, when you were driving your truck on normal roads, though, it felt like I was playing Mario Kart or something like that, where this truck was literally sliding all over the place.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's going on here? Why is it slipping and sliding over here? I'm just trying to go straight into my destination." I felt like it was harder to control the truck on regular roads than it was in the mud.
Well, where perhaps you were in a low gear or not in, in four-wheel drive or something, you doing something wacky,
I,
maybe?
I don't know, maybe, but it was just I didn't get like I felt like I had to be more aware of my surroundings on regular roads. I mean, I guess that makes sense in a way because you are a gigantic weapon
Yes.
that can crush people, but
Uh,
and
I
things.
I agree with you 100%. I put down driving these trucks is hard work. I was crashing a lot, even in the third person. Like you can play this game in
Yeah,
first person or third person. I was playing in third person, so I got a better view of what was going on.
yeah.
And even still, I was crashing into lots of stuff. Um, and I pointed out here a little made a little note. I agree with you, Chris. Kudos to anyone who does this for a living,
Yeah.
because this is hard. This is hard.
Yeah. I tried to go into first person for like a split second. I was like, nope, I can't do that. That is just way too much management of things. Like how does anyone as a truck driver, do you just like pray to whatever God that you pray to and then just go straight? I don't know because you can't see anything. You can't see anything.
Yeah. It was I tried first person for a little bit too, and I was like, yeah, this is hard. Like maybe like I'm thinking to myself like first person in VR, right? Where my head motion could
Mhm,
control which
mhm.
way I'm looking, and I could control the wheel, with the controller.
Right.
Even still,
Even
even
still.
still, like
Yeah.
you can't look behind you in most of these
Nope.
things because
Nope.
God only knows what you're carrying back there. Like
Yeah.
you got to trust your mirrors.
Right. It's tough. I mean, I'm hoping maybe the newer trucks have like maybe not even backup cameras, just cameras that you could check your back, like your
Just
back.
period. Just
Yeah,
cameras everywhere.
it's just cameras everywhere. Why not? The one other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if it was because it's based on maps or stuff like that. I thought it was a little confusing. Certain trucks were unavailable in the US. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's because it's like based on the region that my character was in at the time, or
Mm.
they just locked you out because it's like, oh, you're playing this game in the US, so you can't touch these cars. So I was a little confused about that.
So that they were physically on the map, but you couldn't use them?
No, like when you go to like the store or whatnot, like I was
Oh,
kind of
okay.
perusing through the DLC and I just want to see
Okay.
what kind of
Okay.
trucks are
Sure,
available.
sure, sure. Yeah.
And yeah, there's some trucks that just said not available in the US.
Huh.
So a little confusing.
That is
And
interesting.
I was also a little confused about like, especially since there was like an older Chevy pickup that you got, I thought there'd be a little bit more variety of trucks from those manufacturers. Like there was like a couple of Chevy, like a couple of Fords, but like, I don't know if they just didn't get the licensing rights or whatnot from them, but it was just kind of weird with that. But neither here nor there. It is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to bring up here, Tom, in terms of your
Uh,
dislikes?
uh, the last thing that I have here, and we kind of touched on it before on the fast and free refueling, is that
Yeah.
this is clearly not a pure sim.
Right.
Uh, there are definitely concessions made in this game that make it feel much more gamey than
Hmm.
MudRunner did.
Right.
MudRunner to me felt like a very hard towing the line of a simulator,
Yeah.
and this felt a little bit more like a game. I don't
Yeah.
think that that's a problem. I think for me that worked out. I liked that better, but
Yeah.
kind of a be aware that if you're looking for this to be
Yeah.
100% pure, maybe you need to play in that hard mode. Like
Yeah.
maybe you need to play in a mode where they strip away all the niceties that they give you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's I mean, yeah, it could be a like for me because MudRunner was definitely difficult, and be able
Yes.
to strip that away and keep that in its own kind of mode is cool. I'm glad that they did that. So like for in terms of other thoughts, I kind of we mentioned this already, but online co-op, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can play to 2 to 4 players. But I didn't see there's any cloud saves. Another game that didn't have cloud saves. And this is a fairly recent game. So I was like, what's going on with that? You know?
Yeah. That is bizarre. I wonder what the decision making was there.
Yeah.
Could it be that these saves are very large? But like even
Maybe.
still, I
Eh,
don't know.
I don't know either. Anything else you want to bring up here, Tom? Other thoughts?
Um, I think it bears mentioning that definitely. So I said in my dislikes, right, that the game starts very slow,
Yeah.
but I definitely lost track of time while I was playing this. So while
Yeah.
it did start slow, once I got into it, once I got comfortable playing, I got really kind of absorbed in what I was doing, and
Yeah.
then like my alarm was going off, and I was like, "What? That was an hour?" Like it went from being like, "Oh God, is the whole hour gonna be like this?" to
Right.
and then there was like a switch there somewhere where I started to get into the other trucks, and I started to get a better hang of how I'm going to map a route and stuff like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
now I know what I'm doing. Now I know how to set goals and accomplish them. And
Right.
once I got that, and started iterating on that, the time really just kind of flew right by.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's great to know. But now, Tom, we got to find out if we're going to keep playing this game or throw it into the snow,
Wherever it is.
wherever it is.
It ain't in that first bit of the tutorial, that's for sure.
No. But before we get to that, we wanted to let you know about our spectacular sponsor, Winner Winner. Winner Winner is a live arcade claw machine game available on Android and iOS, and it's 100% skill based. Trust me, if you see me play my games, you know I'm not that great, and I still have won games on my first try. There's hundreds of prizes, even featuring gaming merch from Nintendo. Pick your prize from choices in your particular game, or bank your earnings with tickets to redeem any other prize you want from their wide selection. And for all you lovely people listening or watching our show, you can get bonus tokens on your first app token purchase. Download and create your account, then use the link in the episode's description to enter promo code DALE after you sign in. Check it out. It's clawsome.
Well, I think we talked a lot about MudRunner, and I think we both enjoyed MudRunner, even though it was a challenge. I think this game is definitely a worthy sequel to that game. It definitely moves that experience closer to a game, and for me, that makes it something that I could pick up and play. Like MudRunner, I liked in theory, but like when push came to shove, and it was like, are you going to pick up this and play it again? It was like, it's hard. Like, that's work. Do I really want to go and do more work in my leisure time? And the answer ended up being no, as much as I enjoyed it while we played it for that hour. This one, I think is going to turn out to be more likely to be played. So I'm going to keep it, but I'm not 100% sure that it's going to pan out. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. For me, I want to keep it, but I feel like this is going to be one of those games, like to your point, where it just kind of sits in my backlog. Like I will look at it in my Game Pass library. I'm like, oh, I should play that. I'm like, but there's something else I want to play instead. And for that reason alone, I'm probably just going to trash it because while I agree with you, this was a very good sequel. I think it iterated and did a good job of doing some quality of life improvements for the game in general. It was fun while I played it, but don't think I'm going to pick it up again.
Yeah.
I am curious though if there is like an actual wheel for MudRunner, like specific wheel for MudRunner. I mean, like, or do you just
like
use
a
one of the
like a
regular racing
licensed
wheels? Yeah.
MudRunner with some maybe extra buttons or something that
Yeah.
makes it more.
Because, like, I mean, like, changing gears is, like, important, right? In that,
Yeah.
like, because a regular steering wheel wouldn't really necessarily have that. I guess you could use the
Yes.
paddle shifters and stuff like that, but it's a little different, right?
Yeah. No, I would
So,
like to see the gearbox
yeah.
because you have that visual representation on the screen if you're
Right.
playing with the HUD, right? Because you can
Right.
turn the HUD off if you're a psychopath.
That's true. That's true.
Um, I don't recommend it,
Yeah.
but you could.
Yeah.
And I don't think I mentioned it, but the options menu in this game is incredibly thorough. Like you have the
Yes.
ability to change and control and tweak like very granular stuff,
Mm,
in terms of sensitivity, buttons,
yeah.
HUD, like you name it, you can
Yeah.
change it pretty much. So
Cool. So, those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, send us a comment down below. We'll promise to try and read and respond to each and every one of you.
yay.
You know it. Yeah. And 1H1D is part of the QTB network. If you like gaming podcasts like us, be sure to check out Quit the Build, a weekly gaming news podcast. Or to see the whole lineup, they got streamers and bloggers and all that fun stuff. Check out quitthebuild.com/network.
Yeah. You should
Yeah.
look up 1H1D on there.
We should, because they're a pretty good group of guys, aren't they, Tom?
Yeah, I like those two guys. They're funny.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. So, Tom, we got to find out what we're playing next, don't we?
Yes. But Chris,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a twist this week, isn't there?
There is a twist. I did put out a Twitter poll and had to figure out what I let Twitter let us know what
That's
we're playing next.
Dangerous,
It's
Chris,
dangerous,
very dangerous.
But I picked the games.
Oh,
I picked
okay.
mostly newer games, and I threw one in there. I was like, okay, let me see what happens with this, and they picked that one, and that is A Plague Tale: Innocence. So
I've heard very good things about this. One of my friends
yeah.
played this and recommended it.
Yeah. So that's what we're playing next, folks. So thank you so much for tuning in to our episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.